The story begins with our protagonist Kenji, who is a kind person. He always helps people in need. When he was going to school like any other day, he heard some bullies bullying a student who was in his class. The bullies called Kenji and told him that the guy they were bullying didn't have a mother. He only had one picture of her which they were going to tear into pieces because he didn't have money to pay them. If Kenji didn't buy those pictures for him, they were going to tear it for real. Kenji was furious and tried to talk things out, but they only listened to him when he gave them $100. They make it look like they weren't doing anything bad. They were being fair. The kid who was being bullied thanks him and calls him kind, which makes him very happy. Then the kid asks Kenji why he was trying to be so kind. Kenji told him that he needed to do it to this extent because he had a reason. When he arrives at the school, everyone greets him cheerfully. He is happy to see a girl named Sujin, who greets him as well and asks for his help in throwing the trash bags. She praised him for helping out their classmates and told him how everyone in the class was talking about this. He was glad to hear her say that about him. Just then, we see the bullies who were playing games with the money that he extorted from him. Shin Jae-young, the thug from earlier, calls Sujin. Sujin hesitantly greets him. She looks troubled, which makes Kenji think that they are bullying her. The bully calls for her again and tells Kenji to get lost. Sujin assured him that she would be all right and told him to go on ahead. Kenji was confused as to what he should do. He wonders if he should call his uncle if the situation escalates. After he was gone, the rest of the thugs also went to their class, leaving those two alone. Sujin wants him not to make it obvious when they are inside the school. We came to know that these two were secretly dating. While they were flirting, we see that Kenji was still there, hiding from them. He was fuming with anger and felt betrayed. When he came back to his class, his eyes were dead from what he had seen. He messages Suhin to meet him after school as he has something to talk to her about. When school ended, they both were going to go home together like they used to before. Kenji finally mustered up the courage to ask her if she was really dating Shin Jae-young. She was put on the spot and got nervous a little, but she doesn't deny it. She says that they just started dating somehow and that she was about to tell him. Kang was speechless. He didn't know what to say. We see a flashback where Sujin's drunk dad was looking for her after she ran away. He used to beat her after getting drunk. We see Kenji and Sujin hiding together. This is when she told him that she was never going to marry someone like his father. She was going to marry someone who was kind, like Kenji. This is when Kenji decides to become a really kind person for her. End of the flashback. Now in the present, Kenji confronts her about what she had said in the past, how she wanted to date someone who was kind, and Shingyun was far from being kind. He was a bully. To which she replies that she dated a kind and friendly person once, but he was just too boring and nice all the time. A bad guy, on the other hand, they are rough, attractive, and way cooler. Kenji was stunned. All these years, his efforts to be kind to her were for nothing. She didn't care about nice guys now. She was into bad boys. In the moment of desperation, he grabs her hand and starts saying stuff like he was way meaner than Shin Jae-young. He was acting to be a kind person all this time. He was not just a bully, he was a gangster. A gangster's blood runs through his veins. He was saying all this while crying continuously. But she just laughs at him and calls him a kind person who was worried about her because she was dating a bully. Kangjin tries to convince himself it is all right for her to date a bully. On the way to their home, Shin Jae-young takes Sujin with her and warns Kenji not to hang out with her anymore. Sujin stops him from picking on Kenji and takes him with her while flirting in front of him. Kenji couldn't take it anymore. He had spent the last 10 years of his life trying to act kind even when it was hard, and all of that was for nothing. So he decided to become a bad person himself. When he was saying a gangster's blood runs through his veins, he wasn't lying. When he enters his home, all gang members are bowing before him. His household was a gangster household, and he was going to show her what a really bad person looks like. He asked about where his uncle was and came bursting through the door and asked him to help him become a bad person. His uncle didn't know what happened to him all of a sudden, but he wanted to see this look on his face for a long time. He had worked hard for the past 10 years to become kind, so his uncle warned him that it would only take an instant to become a bad guy. But Kenji was ready to abandon all the work that he put in for the past 10 years. The first thing his uncle told him to get rid of was his good and nice boy vibes. He needed to change his dressing sense as well, and he was also prohibited from smiling nicely. He needed to put on a serious face all the time. His uncle asks him why he wanted to become a bad person all of a sudden, to which he replies that he has no reason to be kind anymore while thinking about Sujin and Shin Jae-young. Even though he asked for their help, He still wasn't sure if could become a bad person like them. His uncle number 2 comes to his room to dress him up for the occasion. Kenji comes out wearing gold chains and all, just like a thug or gangster. He was hesitant if he could really wear this in school, but his uncles assured him that he looked great. When he was walking down the school hallway, everyone was staring at him. He wanted to greet them badly, but his uncle prohibited him from doing that. When a girl greets him, he tries to be rude to her but starts stuttering. When he enters the class, his friends greet him and he tries to be rude to them too, but he stutters again. Everyone was wondering what was wrong with him today and why he dressed like that. Sujin sees him and asks him to go to the cafeteria with her. He couldn't say no to her and agreed to go in a rude way. Everyone in the class thought they had a fight. Kenji was giving her the cold shoulder on their way. She asks him why he was giving her a cold shoulder and that he was acting like a different person. Kenji doesn't deny it, but he tells her that she was the one who changed first. After that, he told her to head to the cafeteria by herself. 10 years ago, he changed himself because of her, and now he was changing himself again because of her. This was the first time Kenji was skipping class. Behind the school building, he sees Shin Jae-yong and a bunch of other guys skipping classes and smoking. Shin Jae-yong goes to eat something outside with a girl. Kenji wanted to learn what guys like them do when they skip school, so he follows them. He sees both of them being chummy with each other and wonders if he is dating this girl too. He couldn't take it that Shin was taking Sujin for granted. He was furious. They arrive at Shin's house. The girl just wanted to go to a ramen shop, so she refused to go inside. When he starts forcing her to come inside, she slaps him, which makes him angry. He was about to slap her as well. Kenji was not sure if he should call the cops on him. He decides to take matters into his own hands and throws a rock at him, but it hits the girl instead. He had messed up big time, but he was not giving up just yet. He throws another rock at him, but his ring gets thrown away as well. This time the rock hit Shin straight to the forehead. While Shin was figuring out what was going on, Kenji took her hands and ran away, while Shin screamed at him to kill him. The girl also yells at him for hitting her in the head, but she understands that he is trying to help her and goes along with him. Even though he did manage to pull that off on impulse, he didn't know what to do next. He stitches her up and explains the situation, but she already knows and jokes about it. She introduces herself as Yeji. She was in the same class as he was, but she didn't recognize him. When he introduced himself as Kenji, she was shocked. He had heard about him that he was kind to everyone and experienced it firsthand. But Ken keeps telling her that he is not kind, he is mean. He only helped her because she was in a serious situation. He asked her if she likes bad guys like Shin Jae-yong too. She told him that she liked guys who were free-spirited but not someone like Shin. Kenji wonders if he would be able to become a trash like him as well. While she was laughing at him, Shin called him. Kenji asked her not to mention his name. Shin was pissed and asked him about the guy who helped her because he was wearing the same dress as their school. But she also threatens to go to the police if he ever talks to her like that and hangs up the phone. She didn't want the police to get involved herself because she was the one who hit him first. She thanks Kenji and leaves. During lunch, his friends ask him why he looks like Shin Gyeong. This makes him happy because he is trying to look like him. His friends freak out after hearing that. Just then, Yeji comes there to eat lunch with him. She told his friend that he helped him, but Kenji left first because he didn't want anyone to know about that incident. Yeji goes with him too. His friends were happy for him on the outside, but inside, they were super envious. Sujin also sees both of them working together. The teachers had asked for Kenji because he skipped a class. He didn't want to make them angry and started taking off the gold chains and all the accessories. He realizes that his ring is gone. That ring was given to him by his second uncle who had got it from the boss himself. It was very precious to him. Kenji was panicking when he lost the ring. While he was looking for the ring in his class, Shin Jae-yong came there and kicked him for blocking his way. Shin noticed that his back looked similar to the guy who threw that stone at him. He starts stomping on him and takes his anger out on him, while Sujin is just standing there and watching him get beaten up. Just then, Yeji comes there and stops him, saying she was the one he should be angry at. He asks her again who was the guy who helped her, but she didn't answer him. As he was about to hit her, Yeji started thinking, who is he afraid of other than the teachers? She told him that the guy's name was Songjin-seok. We see Songjong, who was a muscular guy and was sleeping in the class. Shin was scared of waking him up, but he couldn't just leave it be. So he tries to wake him up, and when he doesn't wake up, he kicks his desk, shocking everyone in the class. Yeji thought he would leave him alone because he was scared of him, but her plan was now busted. Songjin was annoyed by him. Shin asks him if he was the one who helped Yeji that day. Songjin sees Yeji and Kenji and says that he might have helped her. Shin gets angry, grabs Song by the collar, and threatens to finish him. Song just grabs his hands, making Shin come to his senses and realize who he was messing with. He lashes out at Yaeji and the class for staring at him. While leaving the class, he takes a closer look at Kenji, saying the guy looked about his size though. But there was no way a loser like him could attack him, and he left after that. Kenji noticed the ring that he was wearing, which belonged to his uncle. Yaeji immediately comes forward to help Kenji, while Sujin is jealous and angry seeing Yaeji being friendly with him. Yaeji asks Songjin for help, but Kang leaves after saying he is alright. While coming back home, he wonders how he should explain this to his uncle. When he enters the house, everyone is baffled and furious seeing his brushed face. They were preparing to on war with whoever did this to him. His second uncle also sees the commotion, and when he is filled with what is going on, he is ready to fight. But the first uncle stops them, saying he needs to fight on his own. They have a strategy meeting to make him strong and good at fighting. But before that, he needed to score one victory on his own. His uncle suggests he beat someone weaker than him in a fight. After that, they would start his training. The next day, everyone wishes him luck. He was already panicking over how he should get back the ring from Shin, and now he also had to fight someone. Just then, sees the grandma whom he used to help, but he remembers what his uncle told him and runs away while crying. Coincidentally, he meets the grandpa he used to help as well, and again he runs while crying. Then he sees a few thug school students who cross the road while the traffic was on. He also wants to do that, but when he tries, he gets scolded by a truck driver, making him apologize to him instinctively. He waits for the next round and runs as fast as he can. This time, he managed to cross the road while the traffic was on. On the way, he sees Sujin and is about to greet her when he sees Shin Jae-young with him. He hides from them and sees that she looks happy with him, so he decides to work even harder to become a bad person. He sees Yaeji and a few other girls extorting money from the same guy who was being bullied the last time. The other girl told Kenji scram, and the kid thought he was saved now that he was here. Yaeji starts doing her makeup after seeing Kenji. Instead of helping him, Kan orders him to give all the money he had to him or he would beat the shit out of him. His second uncle was watching all this and got emotional seeing their young master grow. It was like seeing his younger self. The girls were impressed by Kenji, saying he looked like a real man. But Yaeji was not happy with this. The guy gives him the money thinking he was just faking it and would give him back after taking it from him. Kan splits the money and gives it to the girls. The girls say that he is on the same level as Shin Jae-young, which makes him happy. But Yaeji is not impressed by this. While his uncle was going back, he bumped into Shin Jae-young and saw the ring on his fingers. He is confused and shocked to see his ring and wonders if he is Kenji's friend. Shin keeps getting on his nerves, but he didn't fight him. He was praying that this guy wouldn't be his young master's friend so that he could beat the hell out of him. At the school, the chief teacher calls Kenji to the office. He told him to bring his father the next day because he was becoming a problem child. But Kang immediately denies it because he knows it wouldn't be a good idea to bring his father there. The other teachers were surprised to see Kenji talking back. Kenji made an excuse saying his father was out of town and asked him to let him bring his uncle instead. Kenji's friend was worried about him and followed him to the office. He freaked out when he heard that they wanted him to bring his parents, but he was surprised to see him calm. At the house, he told his uncles that the teacher was asking to meet one of them. Every one of them wanted to be the one to go with him, so they decided to solve this with rock, paper, scissors. And the winner was the second uncle. He marks the first uncle but gets smacked instead. The next day, the second uncle was ready to go to school with him in his very normal and formal dress.